Good evening. Thursday evening, snowing again, but it's winter. So anyway, we have some snow in Toronto, and it's Thursday evening. So we're going to see what we can do with our topic for tonight. It's an interesting topic, a little bit different. Again, it's Thursday, so it's always money night. So when it's money night, I bring you something about money. And tonight, it was, hi, Belinda. Thanks for dropping in. So what happened last night, when I watched the news, it was about payday loans. And it was so sad. It was really a sad episode to see. They were talking about people that because of COVID and losing their jobs, and now they got stuck in having to take payday loans. And it was really a sad thing, because so many people didn't, or they just don't know the disadvantage of having living. Hello. They don't understand payday loans, and you should have seen the episode. It was so sad. And when we hear of payday loans, sometimes you think it's people that are unemployed or don't have a job. But because of COVID, it really affected a lot of people you wouldn't consider going to get into there. So it was really nice, and to see that it's, how they had to portray these people and how they had to talk to them. But anyway, so those of you who don't know what is a payday loan, you can know it because they have the brightest ever colors on their buildings or wherever they have their businesses. It's blasted, all bright oranges and reds and yellows and greens. And when they do their commercials, hi Jelly, when they do their commercials, they do it with young people. They use ethnics, a lot of ethnic people, and then they show them as young, and it's easy, and I can get this, and I can get a loan, and I can do this, and people fall for it, not realizing, hi Donato, not realizing that this is really, they're actors, and that's their job. Their job is to sell, and we have to understand, everybody works in a special way. Everybody has different ways of working. People has job. So those young actors, they get a job. And their job is to get on this in front of the TV or wherever they do it, and that commercial comes out, and it's not real. They're words they put in their mouth. They have to study a script, and they get paid for doing this. So if they do that, they are going to understand, thank you, they're going to try to sell their business so they can get another job from another person somewhere else, and we have to understand that. So when they portrayed this young man, and he's all nicely clean and shaven, and the young girl, and they all maybe about 20, 23, and they do that. So last night when I looked at the news, I came across it, and people don't know what is a payday loan and how does it work. So that is what I wanted to discuss tonight. And I'll give you the pros and cons of a payday loan. So the payday loan is a short-term loan. It's supposed to be a short-term loan. And it can run from 100 to 500, but no, it's not there anymore. It's in thousands, 1,500, 2,000, and it goes up and up. And one of the things that people don't understand is that these payday loans, they are given to people, and you're supposed to pay it back in 2 weeks. So the first thing, the pro for it, is that they're easy to access. You have no credit, you have bad credit, you just got a job, yeah, no question asked. It's done in 3 to 4, 5 minutes. And before you know it, the liquid is split, and everything is very quick. I worked for a little bit at, hi Rosie, I worked for a little bit at the Jane and Finch area of Toronto. Actually, it wasn't, I went there for like 3 years or 4 years after I left the bank. And this corner, every corner at Jane and Finch and Jane and Falstaff, wherever these streets were, there was this huge storefront. And they go to the most depressed areas of the city. So I worked for a non-profit after I published my book, Controlling the Debt Monster. And I taught financial literacy there. And I would see this big storefront, and bright and blazoned with all these different colors. And this is the areas they go to. You go downtown where you have some homeless people, you will get that there too. And so they go to the areas where they know they'll make money. So all they want from you is that you have a bank account, a checking account. They want a checking account, and that's all they care about. So it's easy to access, no credit check. They don't ask you, as long as you're 18, you have some ID, social insurance number, and you've got a checking account. Boom, bam, you're done. And a job. As long as you have a way to earn money, then that is one. So it's easy. And they go in, they get it. No, you give them their checking account. The minute you sign that check and you post date it to the date they want, and they fill out the other forms, just if you don't have a check, I know from when I worked at the bank, they would give you a piece of paper as long as this, and they would ask you to take it to your bank and get the bank to fill in all the information about that. You go, your bank has to give you the information because you have a bank account to them. So they take it out. That gives them the right to go into this account whenever they want. So you give them that check, and that check bounces. So when a check bounces, if you don't know, the check was returned with, and they stamp on it, NSF, non-sufficient funds. So that means there's not enough money in your bank account for that check. That's the beginning of getting into the hole. So that is one way you let them in. It comes back and they charge you. But you got your money and off you go, right? Okay. So they don't have any requirements, as I just told you. No requirements at all. You just get that. They don't do any of your credit check, but they have your check. And it's unsecured. So you don't have to, it's not like buying a car where the loan is against the car. So they have a lien on the car. It's not like buying a house where the mortgage is against your house. It's not like anything else. It's just a loan, and it's short term, and you're supposed to give it back in a week or 10 days, whatever you do. So these are the pros for it. Now the con is that check. Remember that check you gave them? So they could take the money out. Now what happens to that check if you go to the bank and it's 10 cents short? Remember, people blame the bank, but humans don't handle checks anymore. Computers do. And the computer will only go for the amount on the check. So if your account is short of by $1 and it comes back, don't blame the bank. The computer is not a human being, and we know that. It only responds to the information we feed it. So the check comes back. Your bank charges you $45 because you had a bounce check on your account. So whatever little bit of money you have, that comes off. It goes back to them. They charge you $75. Then that money now gets duplicated. Your interest rate is at 40%. And there was this amazing lady last night, nice lady, maybe in her 50s, nicely dressed. She borrowed $4,300 from a payday loan company. Her interest rate was 400%. Can you believe that? Because a check went in and the money hadn't come in, and it just went up, and now she owes them like $12,000. All she borrowed was $4,300. The cheapest you will get is 45%, and it's compound interest. So when your check goes back, the interest is compounded. So let me tell you why they use the word compound interest. People don't always get that. So when you put money in your savings account, in some of the accounts you get simple interest. So you just get interest on what you put in. There's certain type of investment that gives you compounding, but most debt, in all your debt, is compound interest. So you put interest on the interest if you don't pay it off. So she didn't have the money when the time to pay that $4,300. Interest was calculated for that time, and her interest at the time was 45%. So she had to pay that, but the interest for the whole month was added to the $4,300, and it's 45%, almost 50% of what she borrowed. So you see what I mean? So there this amount is sitting almost at $6,100. Then the interest now goes up by 10% to 55%, and she's not able to make it. There's no way she can carry that. So she ended up, of course, having to pay that. So these are the type of cons. It happens for the same thing for a $500 loan. You cannot pay it, no problem, they don't care. They just keep adding interest on it. And people think it is a good idea to do that, but it's not. You have to be so sharp that you have the money ready to pay them off right away, and you must have it in your bank account, because they will go in and they can keep going in. They can keep changing their mountain all the time. And it's right here it happened, 400% on $4,300. It was like 12 or 15,000, something like that she had to pay. And what can you do? She can't, they have her now. So they actually look at them like a predator. That's what they look at that loan company like they're the lion coming to chase you. That's what they see, because they go after you. So the lender doesn't check anything about you. They don't care. As long as you don't pay the loan, the interest is going up. And they will go to court with you. They will collection agencies. They will harass you. They will garnish your wages. And it's very costly for you to take them to go and fight that in court. You signed a piece of paper. But under stress, in this environment we're living now, you have no money. Your bills are due. Instead of going to your landlord and ask for some mercy or ask for some help and say, can you just wait until I get this? They run there because they're afraid. They have the hydro. They have the gas, and these things in Canada, they cannot cut it off during the winter. It's not against the law for them to cut off your heat or your hydro in the winter. So people don't know that, and it's feared, especially when they're older adults. The fear of not paying their bill. They rush to this company because the advertisements are so encouraging and make you feel so like they will take care of you. Nobody takes care of you. The only person that is responsible to take care of you is you. So that pretty picture is money in their pocket. No, they're now asking the government to regulate them and treat them like a bank and give them rules, and they're all over the world. They're worse in the United States than they're here. They have a bigger population. So they just feed on them like vultures. So when you go into these places, they make you feel so welcome. And the younger people get trapped in there for the longest time. That woman might be fortunate, and others like her. And as the man was saying last night, there are a lot of people like her. So don't always think it's the younger generation, because people are they are more afraid of not paying the bill than a younger person might just shove it up and say, you know what, we'll pay it later. So they might not go there, but they do. So they're a lot like her. And the thing is, you already have credit with your company or with your rent or call them and tell them. Everybody knows what's going on right now. But the rate is so high that they had to bring it out in the public. So many people are in trouble with that. And and another thing they tell people, when you take a payday loan, it does not build your credit. It does not give you good credit. Whether you pay it off or not, you don't get good credit based on it. You don't build credit. It might destroy the little you have, because they might send a report to the credit bureau to say you had a loan and you didn't pay it. But those type of loans don't build credit. So don't be fooled by them when you go there that they say this loan would help you build your credit. No, it does not build your credit. So it has nothing, because there is no collateral. There is nothing they're holding for it. They're taking your word and your job that you have, and they know they will get from you more than you will get from them in the end, because of the interest rate and that wonderful signature. People do not realize how expensive and valuable your signature is. And that is something you need to guard. And it's not everybody you give them to. When I say you give it to, sign in on a piece of paper. That is, you have just given them the right to do whatever they want with your signature. So these are the things people don't understand. And they don't care whether you pay them. They're going to get the money sometime. Okay. And when you get in that cycle, like the lady said, she said I had to go back for more, it kept getting bigger. A young couple found themselves not as high as her, but they said they just kept getting in that debt spiral because there is no way out. So they have to go back to them, and the circle gets getting bigger. The circle is the debt. So they started it for 1,000, 1,500, and it just keeps growing and growing. No. If you have a job and they find out where you're working and you're so scared of them, another job, you're going to give them the information. And they can get the right from the court, since you owe, to garnish your wages. The court will set the amount, and it doesn't matter what you have to pay. The moment your employer, not the bank, receive the garnishment, they have to honor it. It's a court document. So the garnishment does not go to your bank. The garnishment goes to your employer. Many people think it goes to their bank. It does not go to the bank. It goes to your employer, and your employer takes it from there and takes it out and sends it to them. So these are the type of things that you find with this payday loan. They're not fun. And you know, as I said, they target low income. They know where to go. They're like vultures. They go to the people that they know that don't have money, minority groups, and in communities where they're older people on a low income with a small monthly income, people who are maybe on welfare and government subsidy, this type of thing, and they live in that area. Some areas you could see there'll be one on each corner. One on each corner in some streets, you would notice that. And they just prey on the people in the area, and you cannot do nothing about it. What we offer when you're teaching about it, when I taught about it, is that when you're working, the most important thing you can do for yourself, as little as your bank or your credit union pays you on the money you owe, on the money you earn with them, the money you have deposited in with them, what you can do is go in and ask them to help you, to show you how you can save something. Your only security that you're creating for yourself is some sort of a saving, a buffer. And I cannot tell you the dangers of this thing without telling you what you can do to avoid it. Or if you know someone, when you are meeting young people, we all come across young people, children. When you have your children and you're passing and you see these places, explain to them. The colors are bright and gay. Explain to them. Put it in their head. Discuss money with young people. They need to understand the value of money. And tell them, you see these places? These are places you avoid. When these colors are to attract you, to confuse you, and to take as much money as they can from you. You educate them. It's never too early to educate children about money. It's never. Because children are smarter than we think. I was at Canadian Tire once in the line, and there were a couple and a kid, two kids and a father and mother. And they picked up some things, they wanted toys or something at Canadian Tire, and the parents said, no, we don't have the money to pay for it. The little boy who was older said to the father, you put it on the credit card, you put everything on the credit card. That is what the child said to the father. So I'm standing there, Miss Money. I looked at it, and the mother looked at me and she said, well, children. And I looked at her, and she said, what do you do? I said, you just say no. That's what you do. You just say no. So anyway, the point of it, what I'm trying to say, that 6-year-old boy, and I asked her, how old is he? She said 6. That 6-year-old boy had already realized the parent was charging everything. You put everything else on it, he said to her. So that tells you he knew, to the father, he knew what they did. So it's never too early to tell them about money. So teach them the value of money. Teach them to save. Take them to the bank and let them see where you put money, because you need to build that. I cannot tell you about the pitfalls or the hole you are digging when you take a payday loan without telling you what you can do to avoid a payday loan, what you can do for yourself in the beginning of your financial journey. Once you start making money, you must start saving money. Once you start making money, you must harness it. Money is like a wild horse. Like a wild horse, you have to harness money. If you don't grab money and put a harness on it, it's going to go. And another thing is that dry cash has no value. Money that is just sitting around has no value. So you must invest your money properly. But you must always have an emergency account. This is what I want to express to you. If you cannot deal with a bank, try a credit union. They're usually gentler with people, and you own part of it as you build your investment or your deposit. So the rule of thumb, and you have to hear this and take care and understand this. The rule of thumb about savings and the emergency account: your credit card is not your emergency account. So don't tell me, Tessa-Marie, I always use it, I only use it for emergencies. No, it's not your money. It doesn't belong to you. So you cannot use it for emergencies. You can use it in case of an emergency, but you must have your money at home or in the bank where you can pay it off. You get a flat tire on the highway, something happens in the house, you have to get something done instantly. Yes, use it in case of an emergency, and it's best way to use it. But when you come home, you should have a bank account that is called an emergency account. Now, the rule of thumb about emergencies, most emergencies in a family runs between $1,500 to $2,000. So that you have to have 6 times that. 6 times that amount. So you're looking at a minimum of $10,000 or $12,000 in an emergency account. No, that is hard to do. But over time, if you diligently do it and you earmark it, you see, the reason why we mess up our money, our finances, especially our savings, one thing is we don't respect ourselves, to pay ourselves first. We don't respect ourselves. No, we don't. The minute we have a hiccup in our finances, the first thing we stop doing is stop saving. So that tells me we are not respecting ourselves. The second thing is that once you put that money in there, give it a name. What doesn't have a name has no place. Anything without a name belongs to no one, and everyone can touch it. If you look at the government of Canada is famous for naming things. And what is his name? Carney? When he was the head of the Bank of Canada, he was really one of the best they had. So good, England made him come and work for them. So that's how good he was. In Canada, every account has a distinct name. And you have to copy what they do. Because if all of their faults, they know how to manage money. With all of this going on, they're still having a GDP of almost 3%. So that's wonderful. So you have a Canada pension plan. It has a name. It has an old age pension plan. It has an RSP. It has an RESP. It has a tax-free savings account. So they know, they give you an idea. Copy them. Name this emergency account. So you know, you're looking at it and you know what, I cannot touch that. If the furnace breaks down, I need that. If I need a new roof, that money has to pay for it. If the car breaks down and the car cannot start one morning in the middle of winter, what are you going to do? So these payday loans is something you can avoid if you have a savings backup. And I know it's difficult because sometimes the income is not high enough. But it's watching the money, and it's not spending money so much on clothes and shoes, you know, that is the deadly one. The deadly thing of spending money is on food, what we eat. So if anybody here has ever had a payday loan, I would really like to know how you got out of it. What did you do? Or if you knew someone with a payday loan. Because when I saw that on the news last night, I couldn't believe. $4,300 borrowed, it ended up costing her over $12,000 at a 400% interest. It eventually went up to. So you can imagine how dangerous. And they make money hands over fist. So if you know someone who has one and they told you this story, I would like to hear about that. Or if you have had a payday loan, jot it down and tell me what you think. Because they're dangerous. And it's like digging a hole and standing in that same hole you are digging. Eventually you will not be able to toss the dirt out of the hole anymore. It will have covered you completely. That's a payday loan. And the payday loans are in the lower income area. They are minority groups, people where people are on government subsidies because, you know, they're just spending. But if you want to avoid having to pay to get loans like that, build a savings account. Build something where you put some money in every week or every 2 weeks. It does not have to be a lot. Because a payday loan is like drowning. And watch where your money goes. Because your money does not really go towards buying household goods and stuff. It's where your grocery bill. The grocery is the easiest place to spend money. And they know you're coming. So they know what to put at the front of the store so you get interested and buy it, whether you have it or not. So when you're trying to get money to save, look at your grocery expenses. Everything else is so tight. There is no room for error. You cannot take the rent or the mortgage away. You cannot take the utilities away. You cannot have the phone not working. But you can control the amount you spend on groceries. Look at how much of the same things you already have. Most people have more pasta than they would eat in a year. More rice, more flour, more oil. Toilet paper, I don't understand the obsession with that. Paper products. So if you want to get $20 more to save, you can save it. $20 from the grocery every 2 weeks is $40. So if you have $20 and you have 52 weeks and you do that, it does not seem like a lot of money, but it's $1,040 that you didn't have last year. It's $1,040 that you have if you had to be off your job for COVID, and you maybe could make 1 month easier. And that is what you have to do. So the savings account, called an emergency account, and name it. All the banks give you the ability to rename your account, give them a nickname. They tell you that. It's only when something has a name that you respect it. It's only when a person has a name you can call them by that name. You can respect them by that name. And money should not be left loose. Money should be harnessed like a horse. Otherwise, you can let yourself fall in a payday loan, and it's a bottomless pit. It doesn't have a bottom. $4,300 borrowed, costing her $12,000 to $15,000 from a payday loan company. That's not fun. That is a headache. So what I'm asking you guys to do is to, if you know of somebody that's going that way, talk to them and talk to them. Anybody you meet, and children, it's never too early to teach them the value of money and how it is to be spent. Otherwise, they will tell you like the man at the store, where the child, the 6-year-old, said, you charge everything, so why don't you charge what I want? So there you go. So good night, everybody, and thanks for joining. I hope I helped you to help somebody. The whole idea is what you know, you're supposed to teach. So knowledge is not just to keep, it is supposed to be taught. So what you know, you teach. So if you got something tonight that you didn't know about payday loan, and the 45 and the 60% interest, and every time you don't pay, the interest goes up by another 20 basis points. So that is compounding on the compound and the compound. So have a wonderful evening, everybody. Hi, Faith. Hi, Susie. Thanks for calling. Patrick and Donato and Melinda. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful and good golden woman, good woman. I want to know your real name. So talk to you later. Take care. DM me and send me your names. Bye.